Back, guys. We are live on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook.
TikTok
and Facebook.
TikTok's gonna be banned.
Hey, everybody, welcome.
TikTok might be banned, but
It might be. Well, shh, don't tell them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, on that note, guys, in the event that you can't find us on one of the platforms, you guys need to go ahead and follow all those, because if you can't find us on one, you can find us on the other. And from time to time, we get
Celso Luna's in the house.
All right,
Ronald
Celso.
Melcher, what's up, guys?
From time to time, we get put into TikTok jail or Facebook jail or Instagram jail.
Been in Instagram jail too.
So make sure you follow us on all of them so you can keep getting the data.
We got some people on YouTube. We got some people on Facebook, Instagram. Whoa, I'll turn the video down.
Dude, I can hear me.
I can hear you. So what's going on? Have you heard? Did you hear?
Bird is the
Well,
word.
first off, CPI. Yesterday when we were live, they were saying CPI came in hot. I didn't know what exactly that meant because I was live when it came on, but it came in hot, like hot.
Okay.
Too hot.
Ooh.
And so for those who follow this stuff, the Fed looks at these main numbers. Part of it's unemployment, part of it's CPI, part of it's PCE. PCE is probably the most important, but probably the second most important is PCI. And PCI, is it PCI? Yeah, Personal Consumer Index, yeah. So, no, CPI, Consumer Product Index. So anyway, CPI came in way hotter than we thought. Way hotter, not a little hotter, way hotter. And I actually expected the rates to like bounce again, but they didn't, which is a little strange. It's a little bit strange. And so if you know, the mortgage rates are based off of the 10-year yield. They're based off the 10-year yield. And then there's a spread so that the banks can make some money. So all the way down when COVID, when that thing happened where everybody had to get the, but some people didn't. Well, they dropped the rates down to zero so that the banks could literally borrow at zero. It didn't cost them anything to borrow money. And then they would re-lend it out. That's just why you can get a 2 or 3% interest rate on a mortgage at the time. And money was super cheap, but that's how you keep economy going. You infuse money into the system, and one of the ways, the biggest way, is probably the prime. And right now, prime is at 5.25 or 5.5. But during those days, they dropped it all the way down to zero. What? Crazy. But that was in order to keep a global economic collapse from happening. And I don't know. I mean, hindsight being 2020, we don't really know whether it was a really good move. But after you did that for a while, you got to recoup. And when it was time to pay the bill, that's when the interest rates just started spiking up like crazy. And it's not out of nowhere. They actually told us a year in advance. A year. Tell them about it. A year in advance. So because we knew a year in advance, everything started going up. So, and they weren't kidding, man. It was 50 basis points, 50 basis points, 75 basis points, 50 basis points, all the way up to where we're at right now, which is 5.25 and 5.5. So now the Fed has said, hey, we believe we reached the peak of the economic cycle, which is good news, very good news. Now everybody's looking for the reversal, the pivot when we start going down. And that's what the whole market's worried about. So during this time of uncertainty, there's a yield spread between the 10-year yield and what the actual mortgage rates are. And it's usually 100 to 150 basis points, somewhere in that range. If you track it through the last 40 years, it's 100 to 150 basis points, except during this unique time. During this unique time, it jumped up to 250 basis points in a lot of cases because of the uncertainty of the market. Well, now that there's certainty coming back into the market, that 250 basis points has dropped down and went down to about 150 basis points, which is where a healthy range is, until CPI came in last month, and then it bounced right back up. So now it kind of dwindled down just a little bit. Now, don't think that the prime has changed. It's still 5.25 and 5.5. It's still those numbers. However, the uncertainty is being removed from the market all the way up until yesterday.
So tell me, you're saying it came in hot.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean to us laymen's?
So we expected it to come in about 2.9% again. I think it came in at 3.6, which is really high. And that means that the Federal Reserve says, hey, listen, this is still too crazy of an economy. Everything's too expensive. So in order to do that, we got to tighten up the money, which means less lending, which means less houses, less cars, less credit cards. We got to tighten that money up. And which means business lay people off. So unemployment's going to go up. And they want it to go up. Strangely, but they want it to go up. So because, and this is trickle economics, but they want unemployment to go up, because the more people that are unemployed, the less people that are buying brand new Toyotas and whatever and going to the grocery store and spending a ridiculous amount of money. The less people have money, the less people buy. And then it's supply and demand, because if nobody's buying the milk, well, the milk's going to go stale, so what do they start doing to the price of the milk? Dropping it. So it's not a simple cycle. It's a very complicated cycle. But in the process of doing that, they get control of the economy. So all of these indicators kick in. There's PCE, personal consumer expenditures, which is how much am I spending? That's what PC is. How much am I spending? CPI, which is consumer price index. How much am I paying? Those are different, by the way. Paying, spending. And then there's manufacturers cost index, which means how much does Walmart buy things for, and then how much do they sell it for. So there's these numbers that kick in, but the big ones are PCI, PCE, and unemployment. All so right. Those three big numbers decide. Anyway,
we'll come right back to that. Ruse bet, did you see it flip? Did you see it flip when you said it was backwards? Okay, you probably did. Navy Mom, how you doing?
What's up, Navy Mom? How are you? Where are you?
Yeah, where are
you?
Yeah,
where are you?
So I make $72,000 a year with a 780 FICO. What do you think I could buy? Well, me. Let's see what me can do.
350.
Boom.
With no debt. 350,
Easy
depending
peasy.
on your rates. By the way, I priced a VA yesterday. Very strange. I showed it to you because I didn't believe it.
Good.
What do you remember? What do you remember? What came in at?
5.75.
Yeah, 5.875. I priced a VA, a little tiny buy down, not very much, 5.875. And I looked at the next one. It was kind of far off. I had to shop it. This is one that we're not actually doing it now. If we're shopping to somebody else. But I'm sitting there going, why would the rate go so low when the rest of the market is pretty high? Because most of the loans, if you priced a regular Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac right now, what would you get? 680 FICO?
Yeah, it would be in the sevens.
7%,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And I'm getting 777.
Yeah.
I did this VA yesterday. 800 FICO came in at 5.875.
That's great.
I actually called Chris over and I'm like, does this look right? And he's like, I don't know. And he dug in. He's like, yeah, that's strange. It's a unique broker that we have, but they're wanting those VA loans, which is encouraging.
Yeah.
Very encouraging. Why would they want that VA loan? Here's why. Because if they finance it, let's say at 5.875, they finance it, and rates go from 7 to 6. Are they selling that loan? No, because they're not getting out of it. They go from 6 down to 5. Are they getting out of that loan? Probably not. Not until it hits the 4s. So that lender is kind of assured of keeping that loan for the next 2 to 3 years, depending on what happens. Anyway.
Navy Mom, she's in Virginia for about 2 more hours, then back to Cali.
Oh, wow.
Woo, the VA. How is it down there? What's the temperature like?
Virginia. What do you like? What do we like in Virginia?
House.
What's up, Joe Said? One of my favorite people in the whole world.
What?
Lives in Texas.
It's a big world, too.
My primary residence is in Texas. She lives in Texas.
Hey, the Rangers are in Texas.
The Rangers?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Believe it or not.
Texas Rangers. By the way, did you know, like, you seen the movie or the little show Yellowstone, right?
One today.
Yeah, Yellowstone?
Mm-hmm.
So they've got literally rancher authority who have like this big authority, this like ridiculous cattle association.
Joseph said, "Hey, y'all, miss you.
We miss you very much,
Heck
Joseph."
yeah.
So they have that cattle association, but they really do have Texas Rangers.
Yeah.
And the Rangers they're like in California, maybe California Highway Patrol, but way more broad.
Like
they
that?
got more powers.
Who plays third
The
base?
Texas Rangers, yeah, yeah. Well, you seen Walker, Texas Ranger? I was like, is this
about
a
it.
real thing?
I heard about it.
Is this a real thing? I googled it. It's a real thing. Texas has
That's
Texas
funny.
Rangers. They're badass.
So your big, huge dissertation about CPI, CPE, blah, blah, blah,
Yep.
all that stuff. Here's what I hear.
Okay.
And this is for all you guys. This is what I hear. They have a little more time. They have a little more time.
Yes.
Because it slows a little bit from the buyers getting pushed in.
Yes.
Which means that the frenzy and the squeezing it together to push up the prices of houses and the bidding wars is pushed back just a little bit because of that report.
Well, they might actually be in a better spot. And here's why. If you understand what's going on, this is currently a buyer's market. it's very, very much a buyer's market. The reason is because there's not a lot of buyers. And because there's not a lot of buyers, if you're the buyer, if you're the only guy walking in with the pre-approval and ready to buy, you've got the power. You can tell that guy who's listing his house for 500 grand, you can say, hey, listen, I know you want 500 grand, but I'm going to give you 480. And you haven't had an offer in 60 days. So before you tell me no, I want you to think about it. And that guy who's selling for 500 grand will go, well, I did want to move to the East Coast, and I really haven't had an offer for 60 days. There's a market. There's actually a thing on the realtor side that shows DOM, days on the market. And if it's got too many days on the market, there's something wrong. It's either overpriced or something wrong with the house, something, because the market moves. It just moves. And if you're priced right, you'll move with the market. Well, if you've been 60 days on the market, it's probably a bit long. So if you're the buyer, you have the power. Now here's something that's happening. There are foreclosures. It's not record. Like if you listen to some people, it's like record foreclosures. They're happening everywhere. It's not, but they have gone up a little bit. Foreclosures have gone up a little bit. The Airbnb market, if you listen to some people, it's crashing. Oh my God, the world's falling apart. It's not crashing or falling apart, but they have gone down a little bit. So these things do factor in. So foreclosures are there. Airbnbs they're stepping away from them. And some cities like Palm Springs put a moratorium on Airbnbs, and all of a sudden the market tanked. And not just the market for Airbnbs, but all the sales in the area, because so many people hit the market that fast. So supply and demand, it's very simple, very simple.
Let's address
Yeah,
me real
keep
quick.
going. Yeah, go ahead.
So me's asking a couple questions. So is this zero down loan only only in Texas?
No, there's zero down programs in like almost every state. I think every state I found at least one. And we actually go through on our videos, and we go through when we name them in each state. I have this little chart where I named off Kentucky and Tennessee, and I dug into their websites. By the way, go to the .govs if you're doing that, because the state websites, every state has the power to do a .gov, and that .gov is going to be put out by the government. Everything else is a commercial website. .org is a commercial website. .net is a commercial website. .com is a commercial. That's commercial. That's somebody trying to sell you something. The .gov is your government elected officials trying to tell you about programs. It's a little different, and I look at all of them, by the way.
Complicated.
Yeah, it's a little complicated, but
confusing.
Yes.
So go to your loan officer. When it goes to down payment, it's any programs, go to your loan officer. If we're your guys, call us, and we will walk you down the path. You start Googling, you'll be all over the place. And yes, this is New American. We fund our loans through New American. And I'm glad we gave you so much help. That's awesome. North Carolina.
I'm really happy about that.
North Carolina, is that what that means?
Yeah, North Carolina. So one more thing, go up a little bit, Yep. Thoughts on purchasing a second home, taking out a HELOC from the first home to renovate second home?
Yeah.
Thoughts about purchasing a second home, taking out a HELOC to renovate, to reno?
Reno, yeah.
Well, if you're purchasing it, those are two different things. Purchasing the second home, if you're taking money out of your first on a HELOC to purchase it, that's buying it. Renovate means I own it and I'm fixing it.
I think that's what they want to do. They want to buy it and then fix her upper.
Buy it and fix it up. Well, here's the catch on a second home. Second homes are very unique. They require 10% down because they're your second home, and they have to make sense. So I'll give you an example. So let's just say I have a house like right here and call it San Bernardino, California. And then I want to buy another house 10 miles away in San Bernardino house and call it my second house. That doesn't make sense. Why would I have a second home so close to my first home? Because it's my home. It's not investment property. It's my home.
Well, how many cars do you have in your garage?
You know, that's a good thing. So if it makes sense, like, hey, listen, I've got family in New Mexico. So I visit New Mexico. I want a second home in New Mexico. Not investment property, a second home. Because I go there often enough where I actually want a second home. The underwriter is going to look at it and say, okay, show me. Show me that you've been to New Mexico. Show me that you have a family. Show me. Because the underwriting guidelines are easier for a second home. Easier, but it has to make sense. If it's only 10 miles or 20 miles away, it doesn't make sense. But if it's in another state or there's a reason, like Las Vegas. I go to Las Vegas every weekend because, I don't know, I love Las Vegas, but I can prove I'm there every weekend, and I spend a ridiculous amount on hotels. Why not have a second home? Does that make sense? Yeah, it kind of does. So I can make that make sense. But if you're trying to say an investment property is a second home, it won't fly. They're very good at catching this stuff.
So what's your thoughts about it?
So I think if it's truly for your second home and it's not for a profit situation, yes. If you're trying to make a profit on it, horrible idea. Horrible idea. Because that second home has a reason.
Here's what it is. Bought a house in San Diego. I'm renting it now. Live in Kentucky. Want to buy a second home that will become primary.
Oh, that's different. That's way different. Because you technically have another home. That's your second home. But from a loan perspective, it's your primary residence. That's where you live. So that's easy. Yes, absolutely. You need to have that. First off, you can get away with 3.5% down FHA as long as your San Diego home's not using FHA. And if not, you can go conventional, 5% down. And if it's your primary residence, it's actually a pretty good deal overall, because no matter what, if you're in Kentucky, you're paying somebody. And if you're paying them $3,000 a month, and we reverse engineer how much home $3,000 a month will buy you, well then, that's how it works.
Time for commercial.
Okay, cool. If you need a badass loan, call a badass loan officer. You can reach your badass loan officers, Chris and Lee, at New American Funding by dialing these numbers right here. Give us a call.
All right. So, Brianna Jimenez, what credit score do you need for a construction loan?
You answer.
We do not do construction loans. We do a one-time close, which means we can get you a VA, FHA, Fannie Freddie type of thing, and that'll be whatever the current program is asking for. So if you go with a FHA, it'll be just 3.5% down, and you need your 580 or better credit score. But as far as construction loans and lending the phases, that is out of our scope. That's something that we do not do. But we do a one-time close, which means you can get a loan through us, and through that loan, we can build a property and close it. That's that one time. But it's not a construction loan. It's different. So it's out of our scope for that answer, but I'm sure it's out there.
I want to use a VA for both. Would that work? That's complicated, Jas. Maybe. That's the answer. Maybe. And you get really into dicing up guidelines. First off, if your San Diego home is bought with the VA loan, your VA entitlement is already spoken for. So, does that mean you can never buy another VA home? Not necessarily. You might be able to if there's a remaining amount on your entitlement and there's a reason for it that the VA approves. It's a little complicated, but not entirely out of the question, but you do need somebody highly skilled. There's a lot of people on TikTok who really don't understand the VA loan. I listen to them all the time. They're talking things like it's breaking news. Somebody's like, breaking news, did you know that you don't need a FICO score to get a VA loan? I'm like, any loan officer out there who actually reads a guideline knows that the VA doesn't have a FICO score requirement. Your bank does, and that's different. But the VA guideline actually doesn't. So if you find a VA loan officer who really knows their stuff, or simple, give us a call. We'll help you out.
Right. Dak Prescott hawking real estate during the off season.
Take off the hat, man.
Hey, man, I'll tell you what.
Yeah. You look like Dak. Yeah.
I am hawking real estate during the off season because the season wasn't very good to us at all. It never is. It hasn't been good to us since 1990 or something like that. Like 40 years. I don't even know. Cowboys suck. Invest a bro.
Damn. Damn.
How does that construction loan work? Who funds the draws? We don't do construction loans.
You're talking about the one-time close.
Oh. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who wears the draws?
There's a general manager that gets involved. And the general manager kind of manages everything, and it's a very complicated loan. It's not a straight FHA and it's not a straight VA. It's called a one-time construct loan because there's a construction loan that's going to be taken out by an FHA or a VA loan. Very complicated, but there's a general manager in there. And quite frankly, I never pulled one off. I would like to, but every time I go through everything that we have to go through, nobody wants to do it at the end.
Why not?
Too much work.
Dang.
If you're in construction, you don't go for that loan. If you're in construction, there's already an established industry of people that lend money to people who build houses. There's a big industry out there. It's not a small industry. It's a big industry. So if you're the brand new guy that's just trying to learn construction and you want to learn it with somebody else's money, it doesn't work that way. It's really complicated, and it'll cost you way more than if you did it the other way.
All right. Can I put my closing cost in my gift of equity with the VA? Asked Crystal 1983. Want me to answer it?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm trying to think. I think it's a slam dunk.
I'm gonna say yeah.
Oh, it's a slam dunk. Yes.
Yeah, and but see, here's the thing: is you're getting a gift of equity, so that's giving you some equity in the property when you walk into it. The VA's not asking for a down payment. You're just getting equity because clearly someone loves you and wants to hand something down to you. But what they're also going to hand down to you is closing costs. It will not be part of the gift of equity. It will be part of them crediting you back the closing to cover the closing costs. I'll give you the example. So let's say they're selling you the house for $500,000. Okay, so what they'll do is they'll sell it to you for $500,000. They're gonna net whatever their number is, call it $200,000, and out of that $200,000, they're gonna give you back the closing costs, 5, 10, 15 grand, whatever you need. All that to say, yes, it can be done. There's gonna be a little bit of an adjustment to the contract, but it absolutely can be done. Frenzy, in a nutshell, how much year income is needed for a 740 loan, 5 to 10% down in Florida?
Nutshell, 160,000.
Dang, that's fast math, man. Jazz. Thanks, guys. I'll be calling soon.
All right, we're here for you, Jazz.
Diego Villarreal, 219. I co-signed for my sister 9 years ago. Doesn't have the house no more. Want to buy my house. Would I be considered a first-time home buyer? Great question.
Very good question.
Great question. Yes. The answer is yes. Why yes?
Hold on. Ask me.
What? What's the answer, Lee?
Yes.
Why though?
You got 2 licensed loan officers telling you you're yes. Well, most of the down payment assistance programs require 3 years of not owning a house. 3 years. There's one exception that I know of right now, and it requires 6 years. You told me 9 years. So you're way past all those guidelines.
But he's not asking about down payment assistance. Just first-time home buyer. So here's the answer, guys.
Yes.
If you haven't owned a home in the last 3 years, he
3
did
years.
reference another one where it's 7 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can absolutely. We have all the programs for you, Diego. You need to call us.
Yep. And 3% down. You can do 3% down with Home Ready or Home Possible on Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac if you're a first-time home buyer.
What if he goes USDA?
If you use USDA, you could probably do 0 down.
Holy cow.
I know. What?
Pete Beat. I like that name. Pete Beat.
Pete Beat.
I'm a first-time home buyer, but I don't want FHA, and I want to pay 20%. What's the benefits there?
I don't want FHA and pay down 20%.
What benefits are there?
Benefits are there? Well, so I'm not really clear on your line of. Yeah, I'm not clear on your question, but I'm gonna do my best at this. Okay. So I think you said you want to put 20% down. If you want to put 20% down, then you no longer require MI, mortgage insurance.
I think he's saying I don't want FHA and I don't want to put 20% down.
I don't even know what to tell you, man. If you don't want to, yeah.
I got the answer.
Yeah.
Non-QM, you get a sucky rate, but there's no mortgage insurance.
No, you can't do it with not 20% down. Without 20% down?
I can go 15% down.
You might be able to get 15, but most of them don't qualify for 15.
I didn't say that.
You need an amazing.
I didn't say that.
I know, right?
I'm just saying there's an avenue.
So let me see if I get this right, Pete Beat. You want to live in the $1 million house, but you want to put any. You don't want to go FHA because we don't like those words. You don't want to put any down payment, and you want a $1,500 a month payment. Tell me if I'm right.
That's exactly it.
I don't want FHA, but I want to put more down.
But not 20.
But not 20. Okay. All right, Pete. Now I'm getting it. I'm getting it.
I do want to put 20.
I do want to put 20. Okay, cool. So all loans are based off of risk. Very simple risk.
Easy.
So if you put a lot of money in there, there's less risk to the bank. Less risk. If you go FHA, FHA has more lacked guidelines, and because of that, they'll let you 3.5% down, but they mandate 0.55 MI or 0.5 MI. They mandate it for the life of the loan, unless you put more than 10% down. A little complicated there. But if you go conventional and you say, hey, Mr. Conventional Guys, which is Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, GSEs. So if you say, hey, Mr. Conventional Guy, I'm going to put 20% down. They're like, hey, you got some skin in the game, buddy. Yes, sir. We're not even going to worry about you defaulting on the loan because you got so much skin in the game. We're not even going to worry about it. And then you come back and say, hey, listen, you know that time I told you I was going to put 20% down? I only want to put 18%. And they say, okay, well, we're going to worry a little bit. So MI is going to be a little bit. You come back and say, well, I only want to put 15% down. Oh, okay, we're a little worried, a little more worried now. So MI is going to go up. all the way up to 97% DTI, LTV. All the way up to 97% LTV, MI can go up, and it all based on risk. You know how you mitigate that risk? With your 800 plus FICO score. Because people come in, they say, hey, Lee, I'd like to do that 3% Fannie Mae Freddie Mac program. My next question is, okay, what's your FICO score? They're like, hey, I'm pretty proud of my 680. I'm like, yeah, you can be proud of it, but it's not going to help you with this 3% down. Why? Because you're putting so little down that the MI is going to go through the roof. It's going to go crazy expensive, and you're probably better off putting 5% down. Now, let's flip that a little bit. I say, hey, listen, you got that 800 FICO score, and I price out that MI, and that MI comes in tiny. Why? Because you got an amazing FICO score. That's the only real good time for a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac to do 3% down. That's home ready and home possible. But it's a nice selling point if everybody's out there going, hey, you know what? You can do a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac with 3% down. I say, hey, listen, most of the time it's not a good idea unless you have amazing credit. If you do, it's a great idea.
Yeah. So here's the answer, dude. I'll give you the answer.
I went off track.
So the answer is conventional. Once you put 20% down, no mortgage insurance. Okay?
Right.
And it's not FHA. That's it.
Yep.
All you get is your principal interest, put your taxes and insurance in there, and you're good to go. So what you need to do is give us a call so we can get down the right path. Okay, let's look for where we're at. Diego, we already answered your question.
Okay. We appreciate you guys. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube in the event that TikTok gets banned because it's in front of Congress to get banned. Make sure you follow us on the platforms. We're Chris and Lee the same way on all the platforms. We're badass, and we're here to help you.
Franzi M595. In a nutshell, how much year?
We did that.
Did that one. Okay.
Yeah, we did that.
Didn't hear my answer. Sorry. So tell me the answer.
Nutshell, 170,000.
Boom.
170.
Mike,
170.
Is PMI required for FHA loans?
PMI. Not only, Mike, I'm about to break your heart, man. Not only is there PMI, there's something else that nobody even knows about, but it's there and only loan officers know about it. And they don't even talk about it. And it's called UFMIP. What? Oh, we don't want to talk about UFMIP. Why? Because it's there and you have to have it. Well, no. UFMIP is upfront mortgage insurance premium. Wait, what is that? I don't know. It's a big old fancy word that FHA throws in there. But they mandate you pay 1.75% of the loan UFMIP. What? In addition to UFMIP, you're going to get MI. MI is mortgage insurance. Mortgage insurance, if you put 3.5% down on an FHA loan, it's 0.55. For the life of the loan, like it or not, for the life of the loan. What if I want to pay more? Put 5% down. If you put 5% down, the MI is going to be 0.50. But what if I want it to go away at some point in the future? Oh, if I want it to go away at some point in the future, that's easy. Put more than 10% down. It'll disappear in 11 years. There's your FHA crash course. If I'm wrong, LOs, please come at me. Dude, relax. I've had a lot of coffee.
You know, it's heroin.
Dude.
Invest, bro. I'm in construction
Invest,
finance.
bro. Dude, who are you talking to?
I'm in construction finance.
Who are you talking to?
Commercial.
Who are you
Wondering
talking to?
how someone builds a custom home and finances.
Right.
I'm talking to Invest, bro.
All right. What's up, Invest,
Just
bro?
invest, bro.
Invest, bro. You gonna invest or what?
Nope.
Okay, I'm in construction finance, but commercial. I'm in construction finance, but commercial. Wondering how someone builds a custom home and finances. It's usually a construction loan. It's a very unique loan. It's not an FHA. It's not a VA. It's not USDA. It's not Fannie Mae. It's not Freddie Mac. It's a construction loan with a very high interest rate. And a lot of people mess up in this process because to build a home is not a simple thing. It sounds simple. It's like, hey, let me just get some boards, pour a little concrete, put a little heat in there, and we're good to go. But there's like grading plans. You got to make sure that the water doesn't flow in when the water starts flowing. It has to go a certain way. There's subjacent lateral support. Holy smokes, what's that? That's a high tech. Subjacent lateral support means when I put all that weight on the ground's not going to shift. Holy smokes, it's not going to obstruct anybody within that V radius of the weight of my home. That's called subjacent lateral support. So you have to make sure all that stuff is in check. And a lot of people run out of money halfway through. You ever drive around town and you see like, hey, there goes a new house. Hey, that hasn't been worked on in 2 years and the wood is gray. It used to be wood color, but now it's gray. They ran out of money. Happens all the time.
That sucks.
Cool.
All right, guys. So if you're interested in getting a home loan, you can go to the top, click on the link, click applying for your home loan now. Or you can screenshot this and give us a text message. We'll call you as soon as we're done. or you can give us a call when we're done. And on to the next. Brandon Fountain. Or no, Nana Dipina. Do you work with Ohioans with building?
I like to say that, man. Ohioans. What's up, Ohioan?
Nana's a Ohio.
Nana.
Ohio.
An Ohioan. I like that. So FHA has called a one-time construct loan, and VA has a one-time construct loan. They're nice selling points. They're difficult loans. I'd like to try with you if you're building it. But after we have a long conversation, I don't know if you're going to want to build it anymore, because if you do, you're not really usually looking for a one-time construct FHA or VA, because they're complicated. They're very complicated.
Okay. And she also says she's a single parent with $55,000 a year without any other loan. Will she qualify FHA?
Well, your income is what qualifies you, but then we have to figure out your liabilities. Because if you're making $55,000 a year, I don't know how that comes. If it's 1099 or W-2. If it's W-2, it's kind of easy. If it's 1099, it gets very complicated. And then, do you have a car payment? Do you have a credit card payment? Do you have student loans? Do you have a lot of things? There's a lot of things we have to factor in order to find out if you're qualified.
Brandon Fountain. So 20% down avoids PMI?
Yes. Shocker.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
So if you put 19.99999%, you have mortgage insurance. Once you go over that one little tiny percentage of 20, gone. Mike said, thanks.
Yep.
Morrow Boy
How do you get down payment
504.
assistance? You missed that, man. How do you get down?
Ask, man.
How do you get down payment assistance? User 8672 says, how do you get down payment assistance? It's pretty simple. First, you call us. Then, we get you qualified for either FHA or Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. Those three. Or USD or VA, because they work too. So, we get you qualified for one of those 5. And then, we figured out if you qualify for any of the programs based off of your profile. Because all the down payment assistance programs piggyback on FHA, VA, USDA, conventional, Fannie, and Freddie.
All right. So we have Chula033. What if I want to gift my house? Gift it? Like give it away?
Just give it. Just like, what's up, man? Hey, you want my house? It's pretty cool. You can just gift it. If you got no lien on it, if you've got no lien, no property taxes, and no encumbrances, you can gift it. I'm not a loan attorney, so you have to talk to an attorney. But if you're doing it and there's a loan on it, there's something called the due on sale clause. And the due on sale clause gets triggered when ownership changes and the bank wants all their money right now. This is a big problem when people go like, hey, I'm going to just give my house to my kid. Well, once you did that, you gave it to somebody else, but you didn't have the right to give it to them because the note says, hey, if you're going to give this away, we want all of our money right now. And that happens.
So, guys, we do loans in all 50 states.
All
so
50.
If you're in Ohio, Florida, Canada, we don't do. Mexico, we don't do. California, we do. All 50 states, okay? Morrow Boy 504. Can I qualify for a mortgage with 1 year of W-2? And my wife has 2 years W-2.
Okay. Your wife can qualify easy. Cakewalk. As long as she's got income and decent credit score. Your 1 year of W-2, I have to dig in a little deeper. So if you were 1099 in the same field and you just got flipped to W-2, maybe. If you just got out of high school and you just did your first year as a bag boy at Stater Brothers, probably not.
Okay. Antonio32 says you guys need to dumb it down a little bit so we understand.
Okay, tell me how to dumb it down. Just give me, I don't want to get like all derogatory and say, but here house, here money. We get you money, buy house.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay, good. I talk about CPI. You're right. It's a little complicated, and I talk about it so you can check me.
Acronyms, terms, all that stuff.
Yeah, help me out. Yeah,
the general public doesn't do that.
Yeah. But I mean, to dumb it down, I can dumb it down a little bit. I'm like, hey, you want a house? We'll give you money.
All right, Franzi M595. So I can still do conventional loan with a 5 to 10% and refinance after a year or so to remove my mortgage insurance.
You don't need to refinance to remove your mortgage insurance. It's actually in the contract with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac that at a certain time frame they start looking at. It's 80% LTV, but there's also years involved there. And you can ask for a valuation of the property. And once they're satisfied, not you're satisfied, they're satisfied. That's a big catch in there. Because people are like, hey, I think my house is worth more. They should drop it. I'm like, yeah, you think that, but the bank doesn't think that. When the bank thinks that, they drop the MI.
All right, concur. If you have a small business, do you recommend buying a home under the business name? User 9090.
9090? No.
User 9090, give us a flower, man.
No. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Well, I'm going to say no with a little asterisk because I don't do business loans. And do you do business loans?
No.
We don't do business loans. I just checked with them, and we don't do business loans. We do personal loans, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, VA, FHA, USDA, and a few others. But
here's what you're probably referencing, though. There's so many people out there talking about real estate and what you should do and how you should do it, and these attorneys saying put it into a corporation, and blah, 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 blah. It's probably what you're experiencing.
Yeah.
But what we're doing is residential home purchases, not business purchases. So what you're seeing is usually someone that goes in, buys tax liens, does subject to, does all this different stuff, and then put it into a corporation. So that's a different process. It's a different way of buying houses. This is real traditional what we're talking about.
And I will tell you that sometimes we get somebody who's really smart. They're really smart. And they say, hey, you know what? I'm going to buy this thing FHA, and then I'm going to transfer it to my corporation. And it's a legitimate corporation. And once they do that, they've triggered the due on sale clause.
Dang.
And because they triggered the due on sale clause, guess what? The bank wants all $500,000 today, not tomorrow. They don't want a down payment. They don't want little monthly payments. They want it all right now, or they're going to foreclose. Can they do that? Well, they can't do that. My corporation owns it now. No, it does not. That was a title issue because you never had a free and clear title. People do this thinking they're geniuses, and they land up in trouble all the time. These guys are actually running around doing, what are these things? Assignments. What do you call it? It's assignment, right?
The subject twos?
Subject to. There's this whole industry that's popping up called subject to, and they like to sell it to you like, hey, it's a great idea. You can get rich. And I'm like, no. If you don't actually understand the mechanisms that happen, you can hurt yourself, but probably not yourself. You're going to hurt the buyer, the seller, and a whole bunch of other people. You're probably not going to hurt the lender because the lenders are too damn smart.
Dang, smart lenders.
Dude.
Franzi M595 again. If student loans are deferred, would it be counted?
Depends on the loan. That's a very good question. Franzi M595. Here's the thing. Every loan is a little bit different on how they deal with student loans. Student loans are a very unique situation. Some of them want reporting amount. So if it reports 0, I get to use 0 in there. Some of them want 50 basis points or 5% of the yearly aggregate. Some of them want 100 basis points or 1%. Actually, it's less than 5%, 0.05%. Some of them want 1% depending on what loan I use and the package we're going with. So yes.
Lacey said student loans, overpaying it. I guess she's overpaying for them.
Okay.
How much do you need in your checking account for a first-time ownership?
Okay, that's a tricky one, Lacey. Tricky one. I'm going to get the best case, perfect scenario in the whole world. Best case, rarely happens but does happen. 1 month of PITI. 1 month. They call that reserves. And the reason you can go 1 month reserves, 1 month. So let's just say the house you're buying costs $2,000. How much money do you have in the bank? Best case in the whole world, $2,000. Why? Because I could, if you have a great FICO score, let's say an 800 FICO score, and you're not buying way beyond your means, so I qualify you for a down payment assistance program plus closing costs. So now I put you in this case, a CalHAFA plus a ZIP program, and your down payment is covered and your closing costs are covered. In order to get a DU accept, I have to have enough to cover 1 month's payment. So 1 month reserve in the bank. That's the best case scenario. Does it happen often? Very rarely, because usually somebody with an 800 FICO score that's buying way below their means has a lot more money in the bank.
Yeah. So if you guys want to start the process and get your application in, you can screenshot this right now and give us a call or text us. And then, or if you want to start right now, go to the top of the bio, click on Standout Store, click on apply for a home loan now, and you can start the process right now.
Right now.
Do you do HELOCs?
Yes.
All right. Nana, I have a student loan less than $20,000. I qualify for income driven of 0. Will I qualify? Will you qualify for 0 or will you qualify for home loan? So I think what she's asking is, can I use the 0?
I might be able to use a 0 depending on the program. Yeah, it might be. Maybe not, though. Maybe not. So I wouldn't know until I pull your credit and actually see it on the credit report. It's not what you said. It's what I see on the credit report.
Well, if she has a documentation from the Fed student loan saying it's 0,
yeah,
we can use that.
Well, no, income-driven changes. Income-driven means I don't make enough money to pay the payment back. So if it's income-driven, sometimes the underwriter requests a full amortized scale to find out what the payment would be.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's
and
exactly
sometimes we can get it. This is where I have to do half of 1%, 0.005%, or 1%.
Morrow Boy 504, can I qualify for a mortgage with 1 year of W-2 and my wife has 2 years of W-2? Do we qualify for USDA?
Well, first thing you need to know, man or boy 504, is it's not whether you qualify for USDA. Because it's cute to say, hey, I want to use me a USDA loan no matter where I go. The property has to qualify for USDA first. The way you find that out, go to USDA.gov, put in the address. It'll either be green or red. And if it qualifies, then the property qualifies. Then we start building the file for you, and we use an underwriting system called GUS, Government Underwriting System. So first, the property has to qualify because you can't walk around going, hey, I'm going to use my USDA loan, because the property has to qualify.
So maybe. So a lot of questions here, guys. Everyone hang in there. We're going to get to every single one of your questions. Jamie Lara, can you get a house without taxes but W-2s only?
Yes.
What is that called?
W-2 only program.
Dang, that's high
tech, right?
Specific.
That's very high tech.
Brandon Fountain, what would PMI be on a $350,000 loan if I put the 10% down?
What's your FICO score? What's your property profile? So off the top, what would you guess? If you were guessing that?
The only thing I can go off of would be FHA because that's stuck. It's locked. It doesn't move.
Yeah, but if let's say you had a great FICO, 800 FICO, with that, just a guessing. I know this is wild guessing.
0.2122.
You think so? I
would go conventional.
I would go 0.34. Even if you had an 800 FICO with 10% down, I would say 0.34, 0.3. 0.33, 0.3. You think you get 0.2s?
Yeah, somewhere between
0.2s? Okay. So 2 loan officers that do loans a lot between 0.2 and 0.3, which is less than 0.5, which is FHA.
Deborah Powell.
Haha, we love you, Deborah. We love you, Deborah. I don't know if you're laughing at my tirades or whatever, but
she's laughing at you, man.
All
Matthew, what's the best way to put escrow aside? I was told savings account. So like taxes and insurance? Is that what you mean by escrow account? Your impound?
I don't know.
Or is that
clear that up,
to
Matthew?
Buy the house?
Yeah, you're trying to buy the house because escrow in the process is a non-biased third party that will execute the agreement from all parties. So in other words, you've got a seller who's selling, you've got a buyer who's buying, you got a lender who's lending. So these are the parties. There's a few others, notary, blah, blah, blah. So they all come together in escrow, and escrow says, hey, you agree to sell for $500, you agree to buy for $500, you agree to lend $500. And they just all escrow makes sure everybody comes through and does everything perfectly. So when you say set money aside for escrow, it depends on the context, because there is a escrow impound account. They call it, it's an impound account, but they call it an escrow account. And that's for your property taxes and insurance, and that's on most loans, it's actually built into the payment.
Yep. How much do you need down? And for closing costs, only have $6,000. Rachel Herman.
If you're buying a $100,000 house, Rachel, you're ready right now. So yeah, it's all going to depend on what you're buying. This is kind of a little bit of common sense. If you're buying a $3 million house and you have $6,000, it's probably not going to be enough. But if you're buying a $100,000 house, the down payment on that would be $3,500. And in this market, you might be able to negotiate closing costs, so you might be able to pull that off. If you start going up in value, on a $200,000 house, 3.5% down is $7,000, so you don't have enough for down payment on a $200,000 house. So it depends on how much you're buying and where you live.
And you might be a perfect candidate for a down payment assistance program.
That's a good point right there, what
so
you just said.
depending on your credit, how high your credit is, the bank will loan you the money for down payment and or closing costs if you qualify. So all you have to do is focus on making that mortgage payment. And that $6,000 that you have is probably a good amount to keep in your bank account so that you can solve problems with your new house, buy drapes, paint it, whatever you need to do.
See, it's kinda
so
hard, huh?
you need to call us. Yeah, that's why you gotta adjust
a
it.
little weird. It's a little weird.
You gotta hold this thing right for all the platforms.
I know, yeah.
They don't know what we go through, man. They have no idea. Teresa Oliver, how do you qualify while being in a current bankruptcy, Chapter 13? Lee, you talk about this all the time.
Good question, Teresa.
He loves this one.
Yeah, so what you do is you send us the full bankruptcy paperwork, not kind of your idea of it, not one page, the full bankruptcy paperwork, where it says, hey, for the next 5 years, you're going to pay $749 a month, and then you prove that you've been paying it. Once you do that, I submit that to an underwriter, and then we go through get you qualified.
Yeah.
Pretty
Modern,
simple.
modern Spartans, they're watching us.
Modern Spartan.
Right. Jose Villabolo, do you know the 1% down conventional loan and the loan officer puts 2% for my down payment?
You take that. Do you know the 1% conventional loan and the loan officer puts 2%?
Oh, I think that's a down payment assistance where they come in with 1%. That's what it is.
Okay, yeah,
It's
I think
down
so,
payment,
yeah.
that's all it is. It's the same thing that we talk about when
Yeah.
it's down payment assistance. So the bank's going to give you a portion of that, and then you're going to put in 1%. But here's another thing, Jose. There's other programs where you don't even have to come in with that 1%.
Yeah.
All you have to do is put your deposit, and if the program covers everything, you'll get that deposit back. So yes, we're familiar with it. There are other ones too. Just want to kind of put that out there. If you
And
didn't
Jose,
know.
let me give you a little piece of advice. If you're going down that route, somebody's probably going to pitch you a 3-2-1 buy down. Okay, I'm going to give you some math on a 3-2-1 buy down. In order to understand a 3-2-1 buy down, you have to understand the market. The market goes in cycles. We were in a low cycle for a while. We went up to a high cycle. The Federal Reserve, who sets the prime, says what the market's going to do, basically. Not exactly because it's based off the 10-year yield, but they set the prime. The prime right now is at 5.25 and 5.5, and the Fed is committed to 3 interest rate reductions in the year 2024, which means rates are going to go down. That's what that means. Now, if you know interest rates are going to go down and your loan officer is saying, hey, listen, I want you to do a 3-2-1 buy down. Why? Because today I'll get you in at 7%. But you know what? I'm not going to give you 7%. I'm going to give you 5%. Why? Because for the first year, you're paying 5%. Then the second year, you're paying 6%. And the third year, you're paying 7%. Okay? Why? Because you bought that down. But that wasn't free. It cost you 10 grand. So in order to do that, the lender used 10 grand in order to pay the bank so that you can have this lower interest rate. Now, here's what's going to happen. In the next 3 years, you're guaranteed to pay 5%. And year one, you're going to think you're killing it. You're going to think, oh, poor people that have a 7%, they suck. They're stupid. And then once the rates start ticking down, you're like, well, I'm still at 5%. And then at 1 year, you go to 6 and you cross. And it's guaranteed you go to 6. And then it's guaranteed you go to 7. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. While the market is going down and we float into the 5s and maybe even the 4s. And you're sitting there at a 7% going, hey, I had a 3-2-1 buy down. That was cool, I think. And I paid $10,000 to guarantee me a 7% rate when I knew the market was going down. How smart is that? Better way to use that 10 grand, principal reduction. Anyway, just a thought.
Ben, is the FHA 203K a good loan if you're fine with having to get some work done to it?
Ben, pretty cool. I mean, 203K loan. So from your end, Ben, probably pretty cool. From a loan officer's, it sucks. They suck. They suck. Why? Because there's a manager and a general manager, and you have to get quotes, and you have to all this stuff, and there's a side fund, and they suck, and they're hard. Do we do them? Yes. Do I like them? Hell no. But will I do it for you? Yes, I will.
Very similar to the one-time close.
Yeah.
Very similar. El Troquero, how do I start the process of selling my mobile home so I can get into another home?
Go down to Home Depot, get a for sale sign, tape that bad boy on the side of it, sell that thing.
Heck yeah. Or if you need a badass real estate agent, call us.
Yeah.
We'll hook you up with one.
Unless it's not affixed to a permanent foundation, in which case,
You can still
go
sell
back
it.
to Home Depot,
No, you can still sell
get a
it.
for sale sign. They're pretty cheap. Put it on the side of that bad boy and keep going.
Which credit companies do you guys look at?
Which credit company?
I think they mean bureaus.
All three, TransUnion, Experian, Equifax, all licensed loan officers have to look at all those. And it's a special mortgage rating. It's a special credit score, FICO 5 or 8. I think it's 5 or 8, yeah. FICO 5. There's a whole bunch of them. It's a gigantic scam. I think the whole world's a scam. And I think that you have to learn the rules so you can bend them like an artist.
Wow. Yana Cronier. Where do I apply for a first-time home buyer?
Right here.
Or house buyer.
Give us a call.
Boom. Go to the link up top and click on
you can
click on
apply right there. We got a lot of applications. I mean, it's great. We love it. And by the way, we've got shout out to all the licensed loan officers who help us with the applications that we're getting. Shout out to who are they? Jerry.
Ryan.
Okay, Ryan.
Jerry.
Sean. Gordon.
Aurora. Chris.
Lee. Martha. Lee. All right, there's 8 of us.
Okay, me says, okay, how do I start the process?
All right, just bang. Just go to the top, click apply now, or call us, and we're here to help you.
Okay. Nana says, even though yearly I apply for the income driven, have never paid anything, it says paid negative 15%. So it's going upside down?
It sounds like it's going upside down. Yeah, it sounds like it's going upside down.
La Mamnus Dollar. Can I start with an investment property using conventional and buy a property residence with FHA later?
So by the numbers, yes. Yeah, pretty simple.
That's very
Just
strange
yes.
to
Yeah,
ask
it's
that
very
question,
strange.
but that's actually a decent strategy.
Yeah, that's a decent strategy. That's it. By the numbers, yes. Well, because FHA is for your primary residence, and you can't buy an investment property with this exception. So you might want to think about this, La Mama Sue's Dollar. If you bought a 4-unit, and you committed to live in the biggest unit, the biggest one, you could rent the other 3, and I can go FHA. You could rent the other 3. More than that, I can use the rental income to help you qualify for that 4-unit. So you are technically buying a primary residence and a rental property with an FHA loan. By the guidelines, we can make that happen.
Natalie, Blue, Rick, Rachel, thank you all for the love.
We appreciate you guys following us. Thank you very much. We got thousands. I think we have $85,000, $86,000, $87,000 on TikTok. We've got tons on Instagram. Not so many on Facebook. We've got, I don't know, on YouTube. But we're here to help you guys. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. In the event that TikTok gets sold to China.
They're going to buy it back?
They're going to buy it back. Yeah. You can find us on all the platforms. Same username. We're here to help you.
Daniela, would you recommend waiving escrow? Advantages versus disadvantages?
Don't waive it. That's my recommendation. Here's why. First off, your interest rate's going to be more expensive. Not a lot, but a little bit. It's going to be a little bit more expensive. A little bit. Not a lot. Not like enough to like rock the boat, but a little bit more expensive. And here's the next part. For the first year or 2, it might work for you, but as time goes on, you still got to pay the property taxes. And they're going to increase your property taxes. And you're going to have to make a full-time job of knowing when they increase them so that you can pay them on time. And if you don't pay them on time, they're going to let the bank know. Then the bank's going to let you know that they're going to force an impound account on you. And then they're going to increase your monthly payment. So you could skip all the rigmarole and impound it. It's just better.
There you go, Daniela.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Debner, if you have low 600 credit score, can you qualify without down payment for a first-time home buyer?
Without down payment, there's one program.
Ooh.
Only one. It's proprietary to New American Funding. Proprietary,
Only here?
yeah.
Only here?
Proprietary to New American Funding. What that means is the banks, after they make their gigantic profit, they decide what to do with the profit. New American Funding said, hey, we're going to take this X millions of dollars and fund this program for people with 600 FICOs. It's the only down payment assistance program I know of that allows you a 600 FICO. Most of them are 660. They've dropped to 640, and I think there's one at 620. Open door 620, right?
Yeah, 620. What do you do with your millions of dollars?
It's the banks, man. It's the
not
banks,
yours?
yeah.
Brandon Fountain, how long after filing Chapter 13 before someone can qualify?
Like 1 month.
Boom.
Like 1 month.
Drake Hickman, I'm trying to get a mortgage with equity prime mortgage right now for $740,000.
Hope you get it, man. Hope you got a great LO and somebody who really knows what they're talking about.
I'm going to the grocery store after this.
Very, very important. Why?
He just told me what he's doing, so I'm going to tell him what I'm doing.
All right, cool. Well, no, it's okay, man. It's okay. I don't
It
hate
is
the
okay.
other
I
LOs.
can go to the grocery store when
I
I'm
dig when
ready.
other LOs come on here. If you know more than me, please teach me. But I'm going to check you. But please teach me.
Drake's
if you
getting
know
VA.
more, if you don't, sit down, son. You might learn something. Oh, by the way, Drake. Okay, now Drake,
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. You just unbuckled a freaking Tyrone that's about to come out.
Tyrone!
Typhoon. Typhoon that's about to come out. Oh, you're gonna get us banned, dude. You're gonna get us banned. I could have just slipped that one by, but you just messed up. You're like, no. Bring that back. Typhoon! You just unlistened. Okay, so I'm a veteran, okay? My dad's a veteran. My son's active duty Navy. I'm so proud. Anyway, there's a lot of very specific things for a VA loan. Very specific. And I'll give you a case that I've seen happen many times, okay? So, when you're a veteran, you file for what's called a certificate of eligibility. You go to the VA gives you a certificate of eligibility. You can actually get this at va.gov. You get that. Now, let's just say you were putting in for service connection and you received 10% service connection. You received 10% service connection. And you got the paperwork that says you're 10% service connected. And during that time, your loan officer requested your VOE, and your VOE comes in and says not exempt. That doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot. So the reason it says not exempt is because your 10% service connection hasn't made it through the VA system in order to show that you're exempt from the VA funding fee. What is a VA funding fee? VA funding fee is a fee unique to the VA loan that is sometimes as much as 3.3%. How much is that? Well, if you're buying a $500,000 house, that's an extra $16,500 that you would pay. Now, I've actually seen veterans do this. They're like, hey, I got by the numbers, I got my COE, and the loan officer does not know. Oh, you said you were getting a little bit of money from the VA. Not a lot, but a little bit, $300 a month. Good for you. Okay, good. Oh, wait a minute, you're service connected. Hey, why isn't that COE lining up with the service connection? So then you take the service connection paperwork, you send it to the VA, and the VA says, oh yeah, that would have made it through the system anyway. And they give you a new COE that says exempt. I've seen this happen, and people pay without even knowing it. They pay too much money. They pay the VA funding fee when they didn't have to. What? Yeah.
All right. A lot of people are chiming in asking how they apply. So quickly tell them how they apply.
If you need a badass loan, call a badass loan officer. You can reach your badass loan officers, Chris and Lee at New American Funding, by calling us on our private cell phone numbers right here. Take a screenshot because it's going to disappear in just a second. Bye.
So do me a favor and text us right now. We'll get back to you as soon as we're done.
And if you call me right now, I'm not going to answer because, well, I'm live.
Okay, so we got to jump around just a little bit, okay?
Are we almost there?
Yeah,
we're almost there. Dude, we're almost there. Okay, we're going to do speed rounds.
So Brandon.
This
one isn't speed,
okay,
but
cool.
He just said, wait, there's a down payment assistance program for $600. How do I actually check my FICO?
Brandon, you don't even know your FICO. You're just running around saying I have a 600? That just kind of scares me, man. That's like, I knew this artist who runs around screaming his own name all the time is like Jason Derulo. Yeah, he's got his own name in his own songs. He's like Jason Derulo. I'm like, that's hilarious. Anyway, I'm gonna get banned.
All right, we got.
So I don't know if we have to pull your credit in order to find out what. Can you buy a DSCR
credit
loan if you don't own a primary home? Yes. Lopez B, can you buy a DSCR loan? Can you buy with a DSCR loan if you don't have a primary residence? Yes. The answer is yes.
Sandra, buying a home right now is crazy.
Yes, it is, and it's actually a good move if you're primed for it. It's a really good move.
Yorkie Love, that's too much percentage.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about. I think she's talking about the MI in the past when we were at 2.1 and 3.1, but it's going to depend on the FICO score. Yep.
B. Torres, buying down interest rates.
Not always the best move, but sometimes necessary in order to qualify you. If we were at low interest rates environments, I would say yes, spend every penny you got buying down that rate, as long as you're not going to refinance and use your home as a credit card. If you're going to use your home as a credit card, never buy it down because you're going to have to refinance. It's stupid. Yeah. But if you're buying it one time down, I bought a home not that long ago, quite a long ago, in Texas, and I spent $22,000 in order to get the rate into the twos. I am never refinancing that. I'm going to the grave with a 2% loan. Anyway,
how do I start this process?
You just call us. Call us or go up to the link at the top. Dude, we got all kinds of people following us.
M595. Do you guys sell the loans after it's closed, like some banks to bigger banks?
Love that. M595. The majority of the loans get kept by New American Funding. They keep the majority. There's an occasional off situation where I'll tell you, hey, listen, we can give you a 5.625 loan, but AmeriHome will give you a 5.5. And that's when they're competing because we broker loans too. And I actually give you the different costs. Like I can broker Wells Fargo. I can beat a Wells Fargo loan officer with their own bank because New American Funding does a lot more loans than that one retail guy. When we go to Wells Fargo, we're wholesale. We go to New American Funding, we say, hey, we want to do $200 million worth of loans this month. What kind of rates do you give us? Wells Fargo goes, well, we'll give you special rates. That retail loan officer is literally doing retail. What? You just got kicked off, man. Whatever.
Okay. Do you guys work in Puerto Rico?
No.
How long do you have to have a job?
1 day as long as you have a two-year work history.
Do you offer HELOC?
Yes, we do.
What's the average interest rate? ATM with 820 score.
Right now, New American Funding is putting 5.375 on a 15-year and 6.25 on a 30-year. I just quoted a VA yesterday at 5.625. Some cases, very good.
Nana, what does it mean it's going upside down, please? This is the negative 15%.
That means that you borrowed 20 grand and you haven't made any payments, but there's interest, so you now owe 22 grand.
Wait, there's a down payment assistance program for 600? How do I actually check my FICO?
You call us.
Dee, I got a timeshare and collection about 5 years old. Would I be able to qualify for a home?
Maybe, probably yes.
How about Veterans United?
Veterans United, one thing's for sure. They're Veterans United.
You sound better than them.
I can tell you that if you ask Chris, am I better than Veterans United? If you ask me, am I better than Veterans United? Yeah, all day long.
Danny,
all day, air day.
Is it a bad time to get a home loan right now?
No, it's actually a very good time, but I have to explain it to you because it's complicated.
I'm Chris, that's Lee.
We've been Chris and Lee. Talk to you later.